Aries, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early October 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in energy and see what's happening for the lovely Aries collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guides and spirit team, talk to me. What do you got for us, Rams? In early October, beautiful time of the year. What energies, messages, insights can you share with us here? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Aries in early October. It's Libra season, beautiful time. What's happening? Let's get these energies flowing. And yeah, there's been a lot of volatility in the energies for all the zodiac in recent weeks. And we do have this high priestess type of energy leading us off. Now, yes, this is an oracle deck, and this isn't specifically the high priestess, but I feel like she has a lot of the same archetypes. So it's very subtle, intuitive, kind of fits the season too. So it's interesting that it shows up. Your intuition could be at play. But before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the October subscriber surprise towards the end. So you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk more about this card. So we see this beautiful lady there. She looks a little bit stern. She has a certain sense of authority about her. Notice that there's a crystal ball. There's a key within that crystal ball and a lockbox. So I always link her to High Priestess. So for some of you, you might be going through certain issues with the water sign when she shows up, specifically leaning towards Pisces, but I link it to all water signs. If that's not the case, though, again, this is a very subtle energy. This is the matron of psychics, intuitives, tarot readers. And again, it fits the season. A lot of times we hear that the veil begins to thin around this time of the year. So it kind of makes sense that she's starting to show up. Your intuitive abilities and gifts, if you have them, could be heightened. So keep that in mind. If you're an energetically sensitive individual, you could be feeling a lot of things. When I see the High Priestess energy, it tells me you could be extra sensitive to those energetic inputs. And then also, she's very mysterious. So she can represent the unexpected, the surprising, things that we don't quite have all the information about. Now, she's not necessarily a bad thing, though. I always say, like, if you're going through certain situations, she could really be telling us to just go with our intuition about it. So we're just going to leave her right there for now. Let's get into tarot and see what shows up. And yeah, I always say this first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Let's shuffle it up one time here for the beautiful Aries collective. What do you got for us Rams here? Early October. And yeah, while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. Now, I did mention that there was a lot of volatility in the zodiac the last couple of weeks, and for us, it wasn't much different. The reading was titled An Emotional Warning last week for us. And remember, that energy could bleed over for a couple of weeks. And the big thing that I was seeing was like a lot of internal ups and downs. Lots of high highs, maybe some low lows. So just keep in mind that could still persist, especially with this High Priestess showing up in the front. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid. It's never set in stone. So only take it how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else's, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards to start for Aries, please. What's going on in early October? Okay, we have the Star card. That's really big picture thinking. And it's also a very positive way to start us off. A big Aquarius type of energy. And we're definitely going to have to go more in depth with this card, but it's a good way to start. Let's get a couple more. Okay, Ace of Cups, that is another positive leaning card. So let's get one more out here, then we'll really start to plug it all together. Let's get one more here for Aries, please. Again, I'm seeing this strong, watery, persistent water type of energy that we were picking up last week. And boom, we have the Chariot right here on the back end. So I feel cautiously optimistic here, Aries. Depending on what you're going through here, there's a lot of movement connected to this. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, looking down here, I always look at the elements first. And the first 2 things I'm seeing here, water energy, and even with the star, that's the water bearer. So again, there's this big focus on the internal world that I'm already seeing. Now, hopefully, all of these could be leaning positive, and we could be looking at the positive aspects internally. But yeah, two powerful major arcana at play, a card of new conversational type of energy too. So I feel like there's a lot of nuance here this week. So let's go through and start building this out. Position number one, the star. Now, we spoke a little bit about it as the cards were coming out. Once again, this is Aquarius energy. So whether you have Aquarius placements or you're linked to somebody that does, to me, this is a card of hope. It's a card of wish fulfillment. It's a card of the future. So I know these readings are weekly readings, but when I see this, I think of big picture. So for some Aries out there, certain things you're dealing with right now could have big picture implications on your journey as a whole. Okay, so regardless of how it's leaning, it's like, okay, well, however this goes could really set the stage or set the tone for the future in a powerful way. But again, I see this as wish fulfillment. If we're not talking about a light at the end of the tunnel, if we're not talking about hope in general, to me, I just think of long chunks of time or big chunks of time. So we're going to have to see what's up. Now, I always mention that every card has positive and a challenge. When the star comes up, it does deal with hope and our optimism. So sometimes this could be someone feeling a little down in the dumps, like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully you are feeling exuberant about the future when this card is here. But I mean, as you know, with the energy we saw last week, we're only human and we do go through ups and downs. Now, moving to the center, we have the Ace of Cups, a beautiful energy, a beautiful card. Now, I always say all aces represent opportunities and offers, specifically this one. Now, this one, it could deal with our emotional state in general. Notice the water going into the cup. All water deals with that internal type of energy. But when any ace shows up, it is limited time opportunity type of vibe. So it's like, yeah, we have long, big chunks of time. Now we have one that's very short term. So for a chunk of you, there could be opportunities or offers coming in where you need to make the most of it. You need to do it now. And again, as with all aces, it could be conversational. So there could be a talk of some kind that we'll probably want to dissect a little bit. This also represents love, romance. So for a portion of you, if you're going through romantic things or your romantic partner is, this could give us a little hint whenever we see the Ace of Cups. Now, when it comes to the challenge of this, it could be somebody that is quite emotional, feeling things very intensely, like extremely intense emotions. And as with all aces with limited time type of energy, it can wither. So if there is an opportunity or an offer on the table, like if you don't pounce on it, it's like, okay, well, on to the next one type of vibe. Now, when we get to the back, we do have the Chariot, very, very fast. And I know I've been seeing this volatile, explosive energy. This can link into that. This one's more specifically connected to the Cancer collective. So maybe you're connected to one, but if that's not the case, chariots could represent travel. They could represent distance. It's a card of determination, forward movement, forward momentum. And as an Aries myself, I know most of us are filled with those attributes where it's like, hey, full steam ahead. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. This is a big action card. So I like to see it here on the back end. It could be very overpowering. Now, for some of you, very specific message. It could relate to transportation or your mode of transportation. So keep that in mind here. When we get to the challenge of the Chariot, though, it could be a little too powerful. It's either going towards or away from something very quickly, and it's just moving quick. And I always say that chariots were originally made as instruments of war. Very important to remember that, because this could sometimes represent conflict or button heads with somebody. But again, as with all cards, I don't call them a challenge unless we clarify them and see what's going on here. But the way the energy flows, it's like, yeah, we got long-term energy. We have new things coming in. But then we have this action. So for a lot of Aries, it could be a big time of change, or things that you're going through right now are really going to set the stage moving forward. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you. God's talking to me. What do we got for Aries here in early October? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the star. Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to get to Aries, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, star card time. What is happening? Thank you. Oh, so, well, if something doesn't have you amped up right now, it very much will. For another chunk of you, this could be something that has, again, a lot of possibilities for the long term. We have the Knight of Wands. So notice around all this positive energy, now we have a card that represents us, but two of the fastest movers here. Now, The Knight of Wands could sometimes be unpredictable. That's the challenge with this card. So for a portion of you, there might be certain situations you're going through where it's like, this is a little unpredictable. I don't know how this is going to go. But again, I'm seeing a lot of long-term possibilities for a lot of Aries here. So I'm loving what I'm picking up here. Again, aside from this representing us or another fire sign, it's full steam ahead. So again, like if you've been on a little dip emotionally where you've been going through some tough things, this could be a shot in the arm from spirit saying like, listen, you got some big things coming up here, Aries. You have some really big possibilities and great things that are going to come in for you. So great long-term energy. And again, we could already label this winner victory, because remember, this is wish fulfillment and we have a card of you. So it's like a lot of these little messages are rolling here in the front end, which I do like. I feel like it's very much claimable. Okay, if that's not the case, a lot of you could have a real burst of optimism or hope in something too, where it's like, okay, and this is going to be good. This is going to be real good. Let's keep moving over, because I feel like that's simple. And again, it's like we're blasting towards the future. Everyone knows for the most part, Aries is an action-oriented sign, and like this is moving towards it. So let's see what's up with that Ace of Cups. Let's see what the Ace of Cups has. And I really want to get over to the Chariot, because we're seeing action. We're seeing energy swirling. We're seeing them moving, which is a good thing. I prefer that over stagnant. So why is the Ace of Cups here? Quick. I mean, I just did one little shuffle. Double aces. Whoa. Okay. So again, if you've been through a time recently that has felt a little stagnant, there is really strong conversational energy here in the center. Now, everyone knows Aries is very straightforward, right? Like we have a reputation for that, for good, bad, or indifferent. We tell it like it is. We tell it how we see it. And I do feel us leaning into that in the coming days and weeks a little extra. But again, the Ace of Swords is that sort of truth. Don't feel like you have to edit yourself in the coming days and weeks. Don't feel like you have to hold back. Don't feel like you have to bite your tongue. Whether it's something good, bad, or indifferent, you say it how you see it. Don't feel like you have to like tone it back to save other people's feelings. That's the thing I'm picking up here intuitively. But aside from that, when we have this, remember I've been saying, I feel like for a lot of Aries, certain things, certain situations are going to happen that could have a lot of long-term possibilities or effects on your journey in general. So Ace of Swords is really fantastic, especially in the upright, and especially with the double aces here. So again, whether we're talking career, whether we're talking personal connections and relationships, the fact that we have these double aces, I mean, big offers could be coming in for you, or these could be important conversations. But again, I like it. I mean, to me, it feels like the future looks bright. Okay, like when we have this wind-based type of energy, good long-term energy, then these two new things come in real quick. So again, don't be surprised for a lot of Aries. These could be back-to-back opportunities or offers coming in. Okay, so keep that in mind. But again, as far as your communication style goes, don't feel like you have to tone it back. That's something I feel like I need to give. So let's go in on that Chariot. Then we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. I'm liking what I'm feeling so far. It's like we kind of turned a bit of a corner from the energy we had last week. So let's see what's up with the Chariot. Why is it here? Thank you. Okay. All right, so if any of you do have a choice or a decision, or you feel like you're at a crossroads of some kind, to me, it's like the universe making something very clear to you. Okay, so just know, whatever situations you're dealing with, whether it's career, relationships, it's like, okay, it's going to be very clear what direction you're going to have to head in here. And I feel like you won't even really have to make the choice or decision, because it's going to be so blatantly clear. Okay. Eight of Wands in reverse. So this is kind of the opposite energy of what we have on the top of it. The Eight of Wands goes against what we're seeing here in the center, what we're seeing here in the corners. Okay, because this is full stop type of energy. So whereas I see one energy, it's like, oh yeah, full go this way, full stop that way. So again, if you're at a crossroads of some kind, or you're having confusion, doesn't matter what situation you're going through, I feel like the path forward is going to become very, very clear to you. Extremely clear. Now, again, well, getting back to the communication style, when I see this bluntness in the center, now I see the Chariot with the Eight of Wands in reverse. For a portion of you, this could represent deciding not to really talk to someone for a while, or this could be someone that you've fallen out of contact with here on the back end, where that energy could flare back up. So I feel like it really depends on what it is you're going through that tells us what's going to happen. But as far as the offers and opportunities, notice we have the two. We have the great card of the future, two things coming in. One is full go, one is no thank you. Okay, so again, trust your intuition, trust your logic as well. I feel like it's a mix of both when we have the cups and the swords here. So I feel like the path forward is going to be very clear, however that applies to your situation. So let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow card. Lots of things happening here, Aries. Good energy for the most part. But if you look here in the box, position number 1, we do have the star card with the Knight of Wands. That's our energy right there. Full steam ahead. So for a lot of Aries, you might be building up that motivation, that fire within you, that hope to move towards something in a big way. Again, I know a lot of Aries could be going through a lot of really tough things, especially in the short term, but to me, this is long-term prosperity, and I really do like it. And it also tells me that things you're experiencing now, or things that could be coming into your life right now, are going to have long-lasting implications. Moving to the center, more positive energy here. We have the Ace of Cups clarified by the Ace of Swords. I did say as far as communication goes, don't feel like you need to bite your tongue, edit yourself. Say it how you see it, my friends. Let it rip. For one reason or another, like speak your piece. I feel like that's very important. So there could be an important talk of some kind, of course. But again, I feel like this is multiple opportunities coming in quick succession. So offers, opportunities, whether they're talks with people or whether these are two directions that you could move in. It's like they come in like one after another, one after another. Moving to the back end, and it's going to be clear which route you should move. We have the Chariot with the Eight of Wands in reverse. Now, I did say communication style. There might be someone that you've been having choppy communication with that could flare back up in this time. But another thing I'm picking up here is there's going to be a very clear consensus or idea of which route you should take with something. It's like, okay, well, should I give energy to this? Should I not give energy to this? So I feel like with whatever situations you're dealing with, it's going to be very clear to you, which is a good thing. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows for you, Aries. Let's get a good shuffle here, my guides. Talk to me. What's happening for the Aries collective? And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And if you've made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out here. What do we got? Thank you. Hey, it's us. It's our card. We have the Fool card. Now, the Fool is a very positive card in my interpretations. Yes, there are cautions when it comes to the Fool. And in this deck, it's called the Seeker. So it's one and the same. When I see the Zodiac Signs Power card show up as a shadow card, to me, that does represent belief in oneself, self-confidence. And for a lot of the Aries out there, you know, we don't normally lack in self-confidence. So just watch, like, whatever things that you may have been recently dealing with could be making you feel a little zapped when this shows up in the shadows. But again, this can also represent the shadow side of this card, and the shadow side of the Fool is impulsiveness. Okay, and that's another thing us Aries, we get knocked on from time to time, where our reactions, people can't really judge how we're going to react to certain things sometimes, or we just get a burn of impulsiveness. Spirit could be saying like, okay, Aries, be cautious. Don't be too impulsive. And I feel like with the way the energy was flowing, where it's like going to be made clear what ways to go and what to do, just don't be too impulsive about things. Okay, like be a little more calculating. I don't know why it's showing up that way. But Aries, that's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the October subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar for the month of October at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. But for the October subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 2 copies of one of my favorite decks, the Tarot of the Owls. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. Second, let me know down in the comments, hypothetically, if you had to get a tattoo of a tarot card, which one would you choose and why? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love. I'll see you again soon.